Good morning on this beautiful Sunday morning. Hello, Caddy. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm very well. Thank you very much.
Well, I would just I would just love to introduce Caddy, who's a very, very close friend of mine, to you all, and our journey through thinking into results together. But first of all, Caddy, tell people who you are, where you come from, no, and how we met. I think that's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah, so my name is Caddy. Well, people call me Caddy. My official name is Catherine, but I'm Dutch, so it's just kind of stuck as Caddy in Holland. So we met. So I dabble a little bit in polo, and must be 4 or even 5 years ago, maybe now.
Is it really? My goodness.
We were at a luncheon at the polo, and I was on one table and Sheena was on another table, and I didn't know Sheena. And after the lunch was over, I went to sit and talk to one of my friends who was on Sheena's table. And we were sort of talking, and I could hear Sheena say certain things. And I thought, I am sure she must be listening to Abraham Hicks because of the way she was speaking. So I said, do you listen to Abraham Hicks? And she said, oh my God, yes, I do. And I said, so do I. I really love him. Well, that was it. Never looked after me.
That's absolutely it. But and also now, just so that everybody knows, you're actually a Bob Proctor consultant yourself, but there's a whole journey before that. But first of all, actually, just even being a Bob Proctor consultant, how good does that feel?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And it's so, what I'm finding is that because I'm teaching or facilitating all of the material, that's just teaching me so much. So I get to grips with the materials better, and I become even more a product of the product just by teaching it and sharing it with other people, and I love it. It's great.
I'm always telling people, yeah, whatever they learn, they've got to get out there and teach it, because it's the only way to actually learn it is whenever we teach it. But I always like to start with results first, and then we go behind the results. So we were talking yesterday, which was brilliant, because you'd written something on a card and then you realized, I'm actually doing it. So what was that? Let's start with the result and then we'll go behind the result.
So the beginning of last year, 2020, I wrote down an amount of money that I wanted to earn by the end of 2020. So I said, I'll be, in fact, I said I'll be an Arbonne MVP by the end of December, and I'll be earning 22 grand a month. Right. So I didn't make it as an MVP at Arbonne, but at the end of December last year, I actually collected 22 grand. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And then I thought, well, I wonder if this is a one-off. And it has been pretty consistent since then. So it's been a little bit up and down, but I basically tripled my income from about 12, 15 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why I would say yesterday, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is actually now happening consistently, and it's starting to feel quite normal. And the thing is that it is allowing me to buy a house I never thought I would buy. You know, it's putting my son through college, it's putting my son through pilot training, and it's just, oh my God. So yeah, it's just amazing. And I just realized, oh my God, this is actually happening. I wrote it down. I just kept looking at it. I kept saying it to myself. I had no idea how I was going to do it. And there it was. And the first one actually was because a client wanted me to invoice him before the end of 2020. And so that was it. That was the start of it, and now I'm hoping to continue that and even improve on it.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the things. There's some people who are sitting on the fence and they think, well, I'll just try it one more time on my own. I'll just try it one more time on my own. Caddy, how many times did we try and do it on our own before thinking into results? I mean, what do you say to those people who just go, let me just see if I can get it on my own?
Yeah. Well, I think there's for me, I look at it in two ways, why we need a coach or a mentor, because there's lots of material out there, lots of what we call shelf help books, and it's really good information. But one of the problems we have is that we think through what we call our paradigms or our belief system. So we're programmed in a certain way and we think in a certain way. And sometimes we sort of edge outside of the box because we may want to go and do something. But your current sort of programming or the current way of thinking, your current frame of reference only allows you to think a certain way. So you need an outside person to show you a different way of thinking and to remind you, okay, this is an old way of thinking. This is a way of thinking that's not getting you the results that you want, how about, and then we, as a coach, you give some, no, it's not advice, but it's just a sort of another way to look at things, another perception, or another perspective, or, you know, we explain some of the material in a way that probably they haven't understood, our clients haven't understood it. And so I think it's really important that you have someone who sort of guides you through any material, and whether that's thinking into results, anything you want to learn. If you want to be a faster runner or a faster swimmer or a better tennis player, you pay a coach, don't you? You go to a coach because they have the expertise, and they can share their expertise with you. And that's really why I think you need it. And the other thing is, I give this as an example where, you know, if you want to learn to play the piano, and that's from my own experience. So I did play when I was little. And when I know I have a piano lesson, say on a Thursday, I will practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before my lesson, because I'll do it because my teacher's coming and I'm going, oh my God, I have to do something. Whereas if I don't have the lesson, I don't practice, because I'll say, I'll do it tomorrow, And so again, you know, by having a coach or a mentor guiding you through any program, specifically thinking into results, it makes you do it. It holds you accountable. There's someone there to hold you accountable, because you have an interaction with someone once a week, and you kind of feel that you need to do something to have that interaction work for you. So yeah.
I guess that's the accountability, isn't it? I mean, but the other thing as well is that there's so much information out there that you say, well, it's the answer's in the next book, the answer's in the next book, the answer's in the next book. And here's the thing, the answer is in the next book.
How funny you should say that.
That was not pre-planned, by the way. It's just these books is the Bible. Look at mine, Caddy. For goodness sake, it's fallen apart. Bless it. But all my notes are in here, everything that I've learned. And I know that whenever I get stuck, I know it's in here. And we know when with 12 lessons, you go, I know which lesson I need to look at today. And maybe it's lesson 6. But then I know exactly where to go. It is a roadmap, isn't it? It's got the 12 points picked out, and you just go, this is the lesson I need to do today.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what I love about it.
And I run through so I go through the lessons just over and over and over again. And it's great. I just love it. And every time you look at it, every time you go through it again or read it again, or even if you read a paragraph again, there's something else in there, because it's, because your understanding is deepening. You see the next thing in it, and then you see the next thing in it, and yeah, it's great. I love it.
My goodness, yeah. So there's one particular point in your journey, because I think whenever we were first together and we joined Arbonne, and so you had absolutely awesome nutrition, never mind, and but then something else happened in your life that actually. We see, I guess Caddy and I, we laugh and we joke, because I actually thought that if you were personally developed, that nothing would happen to you in life. I mean, I actually thought that. Seems like so silly now, but life is going to happen whether you're personally developed or not. I mean, it just is going to happen. But here's like something here. There's my hand here. But when we have the preparation, when we meet it, then we're able to deal with this event. That's what's absolutely key here, isn't it? It's the preparation meets either an opportunity or a life event, and you've got the skills to deal with it. So if you want to share that life event with people, so that, I mean, there's been other life events, but here's one life event that we can talk about that would help other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I just want to rewind a little bit what you very first said. We thought, well, life's going to be perfect and nothing's ever going to happen to us if we're self-developed. But actually, life happens to you because you have to grow. Because when we want to improve ourselves, or we want to do something, so we set any type of goal, you've got to become the person that can have that goal. So you've got to be the type of person that achieves that goal, that has that goal, or the wish fulfilled, we call it. And so you come on your sort of travels, you come across things because you've got to grow into that person. And if you didn't encounter difficulties or obstacles, and they're not obstacles, they're just an instance or an incident that's telling you, okay, well, I need to grow here, because the way that the person that I am at the moment dealing with this is not how I would deal with it if I was the person that has achieved my goal. So that's what life's about. That's why you get the obstacles. That's why you get the kind of difficulties on the way, because you've got to deal with it to become who you need to be to achieve what you want to achieve. And so I got introduced to, so I knew Bob Proctor because I would listened to him on YouTube quite regularly, so I'd heard of him and I'd watched The Secret, the movie, and then I knew you, Sheena, you were studying it, and then you were training as a facilitator, as a coach, and so you introduced me probably end of August, probably 2018. And I know one of the reasons was because you knew I was really struggling with just life in general. I was very anxious, very depressed, not feeling good enough about anything. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm really sorry. My puppy is eating the door.
I know Caddy has had puppies, and so that I can hear them in the background anyway. So it's just, I wondered when you'd have to deal with them.
So where was I? Yeah. Anyway, so you introduced me to thinking into results, and I started the program to run with it and set my goal, which was the first lesson September time, and sort of immediately things started to make sense, I suppose, because I had probably quite a lot of knowledge and a lot of theoretical. Well, this is how it works, but I couldn't apply it to myself, and that's what I love about the thinking into results, because it's really a practical roadmap to actually becoming it and doing it. So it's not just reading about it and understanding it, but it's actually integrating it in your life. So I had started to feel quite a lot better, and I started to ride again and enjoy my horse riding again, and I was running and getting fit. And then I found a lump in my breast in, must have been end of October, end of October probably. Thought there was genuinely didn't think it was anything. Ran a 10k in reasonable time on the Saturday, and went to the hospital on Tuesdays, and found out I had breast cancer. So I went, oh my God, why is this happening? Because I'm just starting to feel better and blah blah blah, all that, and I couldn't really place it. But I remember one of my big things was that I never felt good enough, and I never felt that I was important to anybody, and I never felt people really cared for me, or long story from growing up, etc. Anyway, so I never felt that I was good enough or worthy enough or value to anybody, and so it really on a roller coaster after that. So I had a lumpectomy. They found some in one of my nodes. There was a little bit of cancer, so they took all of that out. Everything else was clear, and then they told me. So they saved my breast, and they told me, your margins weren't clear. We now have to take your breast off. And I thought, well, in the grand scheme of things, it's not really a problem, but I would like to keep my breast if I can. And this was on the NHS. And very, very luckily, I happen to have medical health insurance, which I decided not to cancel 3 months previously. Anyway, so I wrote down, keeping, all that. Anyway, so I had the best, brilliant treatment, a couple of more operations, everything fine. I had the chemo, lost my hair, and it was sort of a bit shitty because I didn't feel too good throughout all of it. But my very first thought when she told me I had breast cancer was, oh my God, how am I going to tell Connor? Because Connor was 16 at the time, or nearly 16, and going through his GCSEs that year. And I thought that is the worst thing I've ever had to do. And then I thought, excuse my friends, I am not having it. And I thought, I am not going to be a victim of cancer here. They're going to take it out. So I only really had cancer for 10 days because I didn't know about it before. And after that, it was kind of gone. And then I just had to go through the treatment. And I think because I had started to feel better in myself because of thinking into results, that I could handle it. Because I had said to myself, oh my God, if I'm really ill, I don't think I can handle it. But actually, even though I'd only been doing it for a couple of months, what I had learned must have kicked in somewhere subconscious. And I thought, well, I'm going to see my son grow up. I'm not going to do this to my son. And we went from there. And along the way, the first thing it made me realize was that life is absolutely precious. And what are we trading our life for? And if you knew that you weren't going to wake up in 2 weeks' time, what would you be thinking? What would you be doing? Who would you be spending your time with? We say that, don't we, in the course? What do you trade your time for? It's so important, because really our life is time, isn't it? That's all our life is. It's time. And then straight away, my sister came over, friends like you, so supportive. And I just actually realised that I have a lot of very good people in my life, and they genuinely care about me, and which was a wonderful feeling. But even better was that although I sort of knew it, I really realized how much I love the people in my life and how important that is. So it was beautiful, beautiful thing. And then, so we sort of went through it. Luckily, I was fit and healthy otherwise, so I've sort of got through the treatment okay. And people always ask me, because I had very long, thick hair, and they asked me, wasn't it awful to lose your hair? And I said, well, in a way, no, because it made me realize that I'm not my hair, and I'm not my breast, and I'm not my body. I'm just me. And no matter what I look like, no matter what happens to me, if I'm true to me, the people around me are true to me. And it doesn't, my friends still love me, my family still loves me, my son still loves me. It all doesn't matter. It's nice. And I think if you feel good about yourself, you naturally will, you look after your body, and you've got to look after your body. Anyway, so for me, the whole of that journey, I think, was made a lot easier because of the things I was learning through thinking to results. And I said this to you before, didn't I? And to be honest, it is one of the best things that has ever happened to me in my life, because it snapped me out of being depressed. And although I'm sort of, sometimes a bit pissed off, or everybody gets a little bit down every now and again, it does not last, because I just think, well, it's all noise. It's not important. It's just focus on the good.
And that's one of the things, isn't it, that, with 12 lessons, to be able to dive into it any time, that whenever you get stuck, that, your thinking is just like, that there's somewhere to go to, that that you'll find an answer in something Bob is saying, which is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's true. It's true. And especially once you've gone through all of it, you know what to tap into. So well, what am I wrestling with today, or what's not clear to me today? Not sure about that. Okay, so, but I know it has something to do with my self-image. So I'm just going to read lesson 6, or I know I want to do this. I really, really want to do this. I'm actually going through that myself at the moment. So why am I not doing it? So it's reading, a couple of the chapters from lesson 2 and going, okay, knowing doing gap. That's why. But also the terror barrier, because things are changing and I need to change something, and I'm not doing it because I'm shit scared this ain't going to work out, or I don't know how to do it.
That's so funny. You've actually just answered a question that I wanted answered, because I had the question in my head, which lessons? Which lessons really? I mean, actually, is there a lesson that you think took you through your cancer, if you were to think of one lesson out of all 12, or is it those 3? Because actually, I suppose self-image, terror barrier, knowing doing gap are really key.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I can't say that it was any of the latter lessons, because by the time I found out I hadn't done those lessons, because that was like 2 months probably after I'd started. So I was probably up to the self-image lesson. Now, I think that the goal setting lesson is extremely important in making a decision. And it's funny, because in one of the masterclass I did this morning, we were talking about that. And when you decide on something, you give the universe the message that this is what you want. So you're basically placing your Amazon order, very detailed, because if you order a kettle, you don't go and go, oh, Amazon, I'd like a kettle, and then just see what turns up. You go, Amazon, I want this kettle. It's black and silver. It holds 1.5 liters of water. It's electric. It's wireless. Blah blah blah. It's black. There you go. So it's very clear. So we talked about this morning about the decision to do something. So I think lesson 1 is really important, because you're setting your goal there and you're making the decision that you're going to achieve that goal, which sets everything else in motion. And then I think, all of the lessons are important, but for me, lesson 6, and they all kind of interweave, don't they? But lesson 6, the self-image. So we cannot grow beyond our self-image. We can only achieve what our self-image tells us we can achieve. So someone who earns, I don't know, 50 grand a year has a self-image that that's what they're earning. Someone who earns 250 grand a year has a self-image that that's what they're earning. And I like this example where, if you grow up in a household where you have servants and your ironing gets done for you, shopping everything gets done for you, when you lose that, you go, oh my God, this is disaster. How am I ever going to cope? Whereas someone who grows up where you have to do everything yourself, that isn't a problem. And it's your self-image. It's what you grow up with, what you programmed as, what you get used to, what you think is the norm, and what do you think you can do? Now 18 months ago, I didn't think I could earn the money I'm earning at the moment, but because I just kept repeating it and I kept seeing myself, and I suppose giving myself a reason to need it, which for me, a big reason for me is my son. I need to live in a house that's mine and I'm not renting, because I want to leave him a legacy, and I need to earn enough money so I can pay £100,000 for his pilot training, and that's absolutely what I want to do. So I'll find a way to do it, and I've done it. That's why you really, and my self-image was that as a mum, I can do that for my child. Whereas if I would have tried to do the same thing just because I liked it, I probably wouldn't have done it, because I don't think I deserve it, but I think my child does.
I love it. And actually, that's the power of the purpose, isn't it? So some people say, well, how do you help me, Sheena, whenever I'm so scared to do something? And I says, well, you're being scared of doing something is bigger than the purpose. And so what you do is you find a purpose that is bigger than your fear. And when you find that, which generally is for other people, then you will get up and you will move mountains for another person than you will for yourself.
Yeah. Which is that program, and you can debate whether that's right or wrong, but if that's what it is and if that's what it takes, then just do it. Why not? It's great. If you can have value in the world, then that's a wonderful thing to do, isn't it? You can look back on your life and you've made a difference. So
well, I look forward to Connor flying us around, in my private jet.
a little bit of he's an agenda for me though, because I'm thinking free holidays in a few years.
We've got it. First class travel all the way. Oh, listen, Kathy, thank you so much for your time this morning. We can stay on just after this, but for everybody else, we're going to say goodbye now. And it's been an absolute privilege on this beautiful Sunday morning, and gorgeous, gorgeous weather, not a cloud in the sky. So everybody enjoy your Sunday morning, and Kathy, we'll stay on here. I'll just end the broadcast soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody.